Hello, fellow captains. It is the Doctor. Welcome to more Let's Play Star Trek Online on our free-to-play character, Rami Summers. Well, this time I'm coming at you right here at Earth Space Dock. Why am I at Earth Space Dock instead of the Delta Quadrant, you ask? Well, we're going to take a brief respite away from the Delta Quadrant for just a moment for this entire video before we do the next mission, because I have done a lot to Rami Summers, and I don't mean that in a weird way. I have spent a lot of time recently on Rami Summers reconfiguring her quite a bit, and I also don't mean that in a weird way. I have been upgrading, I have been changing out bridge officers and bridge officer powers, space and ground, and I have also changed her appearance as well as everybody's appearance. I have a lot to show you guys, so I decided we should just do a specialized video about it. So without further ado, also you'll notice I'm level 59 instead of 58. Let's just go down, I'll show you the changes. First of all, everybody, I want to welcome you to a new Rami Summers, a battle-hardened Rami Summers, a Rami Summers who's ready to fight the Vod War and go against them. We formed the alliance. We are ready to go. The war is building. We will get to the end of the Vod War here very soon. So here is our new Rami Summers, ready for the battlefield. Are you guys ready? And bam! Oh, that was terrible. Let's see if I can swivel around in the right direction here. Let's get away from the transporter. There we go. There's Rami Summers. You know the lighting is terrible in here, by the way. Let me get into an area where the lighting's a little better, and I will let you guys in on what's happened here. Where can we go? I think the exchange room has good lighting, maybe, perhaps, possibly. Here we go. This is Rami Summers. This is also terrible lighting. But, okay. What has happened, you can kind of see here. I have gotten rid of that white top. I know that a lot of people wanted me to use that in the configuration of her. That somehow denotes some kind of dress uniform or like higher rank of officer with the Odyssey outfit, because that's what I'm using, the Odyssey outfit. Well, I decided to go black on her, and I've also changed the gloves. You can't really see it here, but I got paneling on the gloves with her red tactical color, and I even have on the boots there's a red. You know what? The lighting is so terrible in here. I can't really show it to you. Let's go to the tailor, because I think you can see it a lot better inside the tailor. So let's go to the tailor real quick. This will also allow me to show you my other officers. Maybe this will give us some better lighting here. Yeah, that's a lot better lighting. There we go. Okay. So what you can see I've done, this is a real good view here. What you can see I've done is I've left her head alone. Her hair color, her head, all that's left alone. Basically, it's an outfit change. We've gone with a black top here. We have also changed her comm badge to an Odyssey comm badge. And what's one of the Odyssey variants, Odyssey 1 variant. And I brightened up the pips and I brightened up the color on the comm badge, so they are brighter, more visible. And I've given her this black top, and she still has her tactical coloring here, of course, and a tactical colored undershirt. I've given her paneled gloves. She has red around the gloves, red paneling, and then on the boots down here you can see that they are red on the bottom and around the edge. So she has the accents of her reddish tactical color, but at the same time it's an all black uniform. And I don't know, guys, I think that looks pretty spiffy. I gotta be honest with you. I think that is pretty good for a person who's going to be going into like combat with the Vod War here very soon, and then of course the Iconians later on. So this is a very good setup for her. It looks very battle hardened. Then what I've done is on top of that, I have put a piece of gear. I wanted her to look like she's strapped up a little bit and stuff. And I looked at the tactical offerings that they have in this, and I did not like the way that the tactical kit stuff looked on her. It just didn't fit it properly to me. But what I did like, and this is a bit weird even though she's a tactical character, are the science bits. There are science kit ability costuming outfit things that have this holographic projection overlaid on the character. And you can, in fact, get it in so many different styles. There's one that goes over the shoulders. There's this one that goes here. There's one that goes over this and the shoulders. So there's several different types. I went with this one. I felt it worked the best. Even though there's one that has like a chest plate type of thing, I wanted to actually leave that open. So what this does, in my mind, this is the way I'm looking at the character and I'm looking at the technology, is that these holographic bits are like extra shielding. From a lore perspective, from a storyline perspective, that's what I'm going with. I'm totally making that up because the holographic stuff does absolutely nothing in game. It does not buff your character. It does not do a single thing. It's just looks. But in my mind, the reason why she chose this specific set of holographic projections is because it does help resist energy damage. And so she's protected her arms here, so flanking damage, she will reduce flanking damage. And she's got these, she's back kind of shoulder blade protection here on the back, and then a side protection here from, again, flank damage. And that's what she's chosen to use. In addition to her own personal shield, of course. She still has the personal shield. This is just like extra shielding in those areas. And I think it gives a great profile and looks really good. Now you can change the color of this holographic. You can change it from green or yellow or blue. And I decided green is the default. I decided to move away from the default and go full blue on it. Even though obviously she's not science, it has nothing to do with the color of science. I just think that the blue looked really good with the black and the red. I just think it was a great color combination. So that's what I went with. And so I think it just looks awesome on her. And in addition, part of that kit are these like straps here that go over her back and along her chest here. And what I've done is black them out so that they blend in better and just look just total better, total BA here. In addition, I've added some wrist abilities. She has this holographic wristing. Again, another science kit visual, but to me, what I figure that is like a holographic display. So she can access things about her personal shield, about the holographics. She can access information, kind of like a mini tricorder on her arm or wrist. So that's kind of how I looked at that. And then it just looks good with this whole setup anyway. And on this side, again, the same kind of thing. She's got a little display here that does, who knows what this does, but it does something and it helps. If you guys have an idea for what her left arm here, wrist thing could be, let me know. Then down here on the belt, I changed out her Odyssey belt and I gave her, again, this is not even a tactical belt, this is a science belt. But I liked all the little things on it. It's got pouches for things here. It almost looks like there's even like ammo going across it. It just kind of looks cool. And then it has like this reader tricorder thing on the side. So, she's very technological. She uses technology a lot. So she's got it all over her now. And she's ready for war. She's ready to take on anything. I just thought this look was great. I thought it was a good update visually. So that's what I went with, guys. This is Rami Summers' new look. I think once we get down on some ground missions and you see her in action, you see her holding her gun, you see her firing, you see her going against the enemy, I think this visual will just look really good. Now, I also have done my bridge officers. I have redressed them as well, but I'm not going to show them to you just yet because I want to show you what my bridge officers are first. Yes, what they are before I show you the visuals on them. So, here's the deal. Star Trek Online even the free-to-play edition, of course, that we've been playing, gives you some really good options in terms of rewards, right, as you play the game. Some of those rewards have been bridge officers. We have received some bridge officers through our time playing that I have not utilized. Instead, I stuck to the default bridge officers that we were given. We were given like Tavrel, we were given Eliza Flores, and so forth. And originally, my plan and idea was to stick with an all-female crew. That was kind of my idea from the beginning of this video. But I have since changed that plan, and the reason why is because of those free bridge officers we've been given as we've played the game are superior or better to those original bridge officers. I feel that if you're going to get those things, you should utilize, what the game gives you. Basically, use what the game gives you. It gives you some good stuff. So even though they are male characters, and it doesn't really fit with my quote theme, they are superior in other ways. They are superior on ground, and they are superior in space. How can they be superior in space, you ask? Because of traits. This is something you may not know if you're brand new to the game, but if you go up here to your traits tab, you have all these traits that are inherent to you, right? You set your personal ground traits and you set your personal space traits. Well, bridge officers also have traits. This is something you may not know, but bridge officers also have traits. And those bridge officer traits can be ground traits and space traits. They can help you on ground or space. So what I have done, and you'll see my bridge officer list here, is I have totally cleaned out my bridge officer list and gotten rid of bridge officers that I do not use or will not use. I have equipped new ones to do different things. So let's just go down the list. One of the first that I received was a Jem'Hadar. This is Vomit Zun. Oh gosh, his name is Vomita Zun. Say that 3 times fast. Vomita Zun. He's a Jem'Hadar, obviously. So we have not used him before. I got him during that whole Dominion run, remember? Well, I decided to go ahead and use him because of some of his traits, and his abilities on ground are really good. So let's go to traits here, and you can see his traits. You'll see that all of his traits are ground-based. None are space-based on him. So he's really good for ground. He's got this thing called Engineered Soldier, which gives plus 5% damage with melee attacks, plus 5% damage with ranged weapons, plus 3% critical chance, and plus 5% critical severity. Then he has this thing called a Shroud, where he can go invisible, and he does plus 20% all damage for 10 seconds. He has aggression and stealth. Then he has this thing called Superior Health. To him, he's resistant to toxic damage, and he has maximum hit points. And then he's got Superior Stubborn. Stun resistance, slow resistance, placate resistance. This guy is ready for ground damage. He is ready to do ground stuff. I mean, he is an awesome ground bridge officer. So I would be remiss if I did not utilize him on ground. I will be doing better damage on ground, and I will be doing just a lot better with him on my team versus someone like Tavrel, which really doesn't have much benefit or something. So these traits are what make or break it. So I have taken Vamadazun and added him to my bridge officer roster, and I have made him a ground bridge officer. Then I have equipped him well enough to do well in battle. I have given him, from rewards, I have given him an integrated targeting armor Mark 12, and I've given him a personal shield Mark 12, all rare. And these are from mission drops, is what these are from. And then I have given him a fluidic anti-proton assault dense beam. This was, again, a mission reward. We played a mission. We got this as a reward early on in like the Delta Quadrant, I think. So I have given him this weapon to use. Now this is a Mark 13 very rare weapon. So he's doing a lot more damage now than any of my setup was doing before. So that is Vamadazun. Everybody say hello. Now let's move on to the next unique player on our team we got during this Delta run, we have recently come across a potato head. We have, of course, Nevro. That's his default name. This is a hierarchy. He's male, of course, Mr. Potato Head. He is a hierarchy officer. He is also good on ground, but in addition to that, he's also good in space, and he is an intelligence officer, which means when I get a ship that has intelligence abilities or seeding, if I ever do in the future, I can utilize him for intelligence powers, so why not go ahead and add him to my team? Now let me show you his traits. He has 2 space traits, and here's the big one right here, guys. He has an efficient trait. This is an efficient officer. If you guys are from the past, obviously if you're alive, you're from the past. But if you are an old player of Star Trek Online and you've been around in the game a very long time, you may be familiar with efficient Saurians. If efficient Saurians rings a bell in your head, relate that to this character. Efficient Saurians used to be a huge thing. They were highly sought after because Saurians with the efficient trait gave this increased warp core efficiency, which is all power levels. And that was a big thing that people wanted back then, was those efficient Saurians. And you could get them on a random drop. And they were only uncommon bridge officers at the very beginning, but they had the efficiency trait, which made them highly, highly, highly sought after. And they were on the exchange, but they were so expensive, like at the time, and this was a lot for the time, they were like 30, 40, 50 million energy credits. And at the time, that was like the most expensive thing in the game. When the game like first started, that was like the most expensive thing, and it was those efficient Saurians. Everybody wanted those. So here's a character where we actually get a bridge officer now as a mission drop that has the efficient trait. So this is a space trait, provides a bonus to warp core efficiency skill, improving all power levels, weapon, shield, engine, and auxiliary for your ship when your power is low. Plus 7.5 starship warp core efficiency when low. So when your power levels drop, your levels will be plus 7.5 higher than they normally would be. That's extremely important because obviously if you're firing a lot of cannons or even beams, you're going to lose power, but now it will be higher with efficient. Power is everything in Star Trek Online. Power levels determine how potent your weapon damage is, how good your shield regen is, how fast your engines are, and how high your auxiliary is, which can affect so many other things. Power levels are everything. So this guy's got efficient. I want him on my bridge officer team. I want his efficient to buff my ship. So now it is. And the way that's happening is that I've equipped him in a station. You will not benefit from these traits unless you equip them in an actual bridge officer power station. So here's Nevro. He's my new science officer. He's got science team 2, and I have changed his bridge officer power here to hazard emitter. I had polarized hull before. Now I have hazard emitter on my ship, and that's, I think, going to benefit us better. So here's my new science officer. Here's another trait he has in space. He's got pirate. Space trait improves all damage dealt and increases your perception of stealth enemies. So this gives, it's very small, but it is a plus 1.5% all damage. So already I'm a tactical character doing a lot of damage. Well, here comes along a bridge officer that can even increase my damage more. All I had to do was equip him on the ship, and I have done that. So now he's giving me all damage. But he also has a couple of ground abilities, so he's good for ground too. He's got superior acute senses. Makes it significantly easier to detect stealth opponents and increases your exploit damage. Some attacks can perform an exploit for bonus damage if the target is exposed. This trait increases the damage done by a successful exploit. This trait also decreases the bonus damage you take when enemies attack you with flanking bonuses. Then he has superior covert. Ground trait. Increases the effectiveness of your stealth abilities and increases your exploit damage. Some attacks can perform an exploit for bonus damage if the target is exposed. This trait increases the damage done by a successful exploit. So as a tactical character, I am trying to benefit a lot from these exposed and exploit kind of deals. So this guy here can improve that for me on my tactical character. Huge bonus, a huge plus to my ground abilities and ground powers that I'm using. So he's got 2 space, 2 ground. So there is Nevro. So everybody, we've got Vamatazun here as a tactical officer, and then Nevro as our potato head. Now these guys cannot change their clothing, so you'll notice their clothing is default in these pictures here. Their clothing cannot be changed. You can't change their visuals, unfortunately, so that's it. Oh, on Nevro, I went with a Kabali setup. I know it's kind of weird because he's hierarchy, but there's no hierarchy like stuff in the game. But what they do have is, again, as mission drops that we got from playing in the Delta Quadrant, we had this stealth operational armor. So this guy's already stealthy. A lot of his traits, you noticed, were to deal with stealth. And that's kind of his thing. So I've given him the stealth operational armor. And it's got some okay stats, but not a whole lot of energy damage resistance or stuff like that. But it has increased exploit damage and increased exposed chance. So all that stuff is real good to coincide with his traits. Then I have the Kobali personal shield as well. It's got a high regeneration. It's even got a health regeneration. And it has Tetrion resistance, which is kind of weird because the Vodvar use Polaron, not Tetrion. But anyway, that's what I've given him. And I've given him a Kobali split beam rifle. So he's got a complete Kobali setup with stealth and exploit and expose and all of that set up. So he is geared up. This guy is so much better setup than I had just with these 2 characters alone. My ground bridge officers are now so much better, and my space is also benefiting from this guy's 2 traits he has. Otherwise, I have kept everybody the same. Oh no, I didn't. Never mind. I take that back. I did get a new human bridge officer. This is my engineer. Say hello to Carrie Neva Bonus. I like that name, Bonus. This is a human female, very rare bridge officer. Now, why did I go with a human engineering bridge officer? Again, it's all about the traits. Humans have a cool trait called leadership. It's a space trait. Space trait inspires your ship crew, leading to faster hull repairs. Directly improves the rate at which lost hull capacity is regenerated or regained. More effective outside of combat than while under red alert. You gain hull regeneration in combat, you gain hull regeneration out of combat, and you have a resistance rating to the duration of subsystem offline, which is an extra little bonus to that trait. So humans have this awesome trait called leadership. You should have a human on your bridge officer team, just one human, because especially if you're a tactical officer, because that hull regeneration is really important. Remember, we take a lot of damage to our hull, as you've seen me playing this game. Escorts are often called glass cannons because their hull strength goes down really fast and they can blow up fast. So the faster you can have a higher hull regeneration, or your hull regenerate in or out of combat, is very helpful on an escort. So this leadership is great for an escort. So human leadership. I have her as slotted here as my ensign engineering officer. So we are benefiting from a human. She also has some ground traits, but I'm not using her, or am I using her on ground? Yes, Carrie, I am using her on ground. So she has superior covert, which is plus 30% stealth and plus 1500% exploit damage. Holy crap. She has superior creativity, which is plus 12.5% to damage dealt by kit powers and 20% healing to shields and hit points. And she's got Teamwork, which increases team exploit damage. So she's got some great ground powers as well, or great ground traits. So she is equipped here as my ground engineer, is what I've done on her. Then I have Yura. Ah, yes. This is Yura. This person I purchased as well from the exchange, by the way. I got all these things. I got Yura and Carrie from the exchange. Nevro and Vamadazun I got from mission drops. But Yura and Carrie I got from the exchange. Remember how I was talking about efficient Saurians and how they're good in space and help your power levels? Well, I got one. Welcome to Saurian female. Her name is Yura. She is an efficient Saurian. If we go to traits, you will see she has the efficient trait. So again, that plus 7.5 Starship Warp Core efficiency. Efficient apparently does stack. So you're asking, can you have two efficients and do they stack? Yes, they stack, but with diminishing returns. That means this second stack of efficient is not exactly plus 7.5. It's going to be less than that. But it's still better than nothing, and it does add to the first efficient. Now this character also has ground stuff, but I am not using her for ground. I am only using her, Yura, for my space. So Yura will never get used for ground, so she has no weapons or anything on her, no shield, body, whatever, because I'm not using her on ground. She's kind of ugly. In fact, I tried to make her look as pretty as I could, but yeah, I have her on here because I want to benefit from her efficient. So I have two efficients on the ship. So those are my three new Starship traits. Two efficients and one leadership. That's going to make a big difference on ship battles. Then, of course, on ground, I have Nevro's ground abilities, traits, and I have Amadazun's ground stuff, and then these guys as well. They've got ground stuff, and who's my other one? Eliza Flores is also still ground. Eliza Flores also has leadership, by the way. So I've actually got two leaderships. I take that back. I got two efficients and two leaderships. That's another thing. I forgot Eliza Flores had leadership. So I got two leaderships and two efficients. So I'm buffing my ship as much as possible here with these traits. And then she has ground abilities to Superior Peak Health, Superior Soldier, which is all energy damage and critical severity, and then Superior Teamwork, which is more exploit damage. I should have a ton of exploit damage and a ton of expose on the ground now. I mean, like, all my stuff here is geared toward exploit and expose. And then I have, of course, in space, two leadership and two efficient, and then that one pirate. So that's my new traits, guys, for space and ground, my new bridge officer traits. That's kind of my setup there. So we'll have a Potato Head, we'll have a Jim Hadar, we'll have Eliza Flores, and we'll have Carrie. With her, I have given her some armor, some shields, and she's still using the Sonic Anti-Proton Wide Beam until I get something better. And Eliza Flores is also the same until I get something better. Now, the other thing I've done is to change out their powers. Obviously, since I changed out bridge officers, I had to go back and redo all their powers. I have done a couple of different things here. Vamadazun is now doing a Torpedo Spread 3. I don't think we had that before. I think we had Torpedo Spread 2 before. Now I've got Torpedo Spread 3, so I can just do a whole lot of Torpedo Spread here. And I have added, I think I didn't have this before either, I've added Attack Pattern Beta 1. Attack patterns are very important on an escort or a tactical character, so I am here buffing this. I now have Alpha, Gamma, and Beta. So I've got those new attack patterns. Still Tactical Team 1. Here's my attack pattern Gamma. Still Rapid Fire 2 and Scatter Volley 1, and then another tactical team. Now over here, I've done an Emergency Power to Shields 1, because again, I'm an escort and I want to go in and be able to do some damage but not die right away. I have upgraded to Emergency Power to Weapons 2, and I'm using Engineering Team 1, and then down here I went Science Team 2, and I changed out Polarized Hull to Hazard Emitters. Those are my new space powers. On ground, I have a healer still. I'm going to make Nevro, Mr. Potato Head, since he's good on stealth and he's good on exploit and exposed damage and all that stuff. I have given him Nanite Health Monitor, Vascular Regen, Medical Tricorder, and Hypospray Dialovine. He's my healer. He's going to keep me alive. And then I'm going to have Vamada Zune, who is my Jem'Hadar, do a lot of ground damage. He's got Overwatch 2, he's got Lunge 2, Sweeping Strikes, and Battle Strategies. So he's going to be a ground officer and do a lot of damage. I have Eliza Flores still, Ambush, Battle Strategies 3, Target Optics 1, and Photon Grenade. Then I have Carrie, who's going to be my engineer. I got Support Drone Fab 1, Turret Fab 2, Turret Fab 1, and Shield Recharge 1. And that's my new setup, guys. That's the new Bridge Officer setup here. Now, for myself. I have been doing some things. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have been doing some things. I'm level 59. Where we last left off, we were level 58. The reason why I'm 59 is that I have been trying to get a lot of Delta marks off camera. Because remember I said that I'm going to be leveling up in the Delta Reputation, because we already started that a while ago, and I want to get the Delta Reputation ground gear. I definitely want to start out with the ground gear. I had previously got the Delta Alliance Unimatrix Personal Shield already from that, so I have one piece of the Delta Alliance stuff, or Delta Quadrant, Delta Reputation stuff. It has a pretty good shield capacity and all that. It's okay, but of course, what will really make this set is when I get to all the pieces combined. This has a 2-piece and 3-piece bonus. If you get 2 pieces combined, you get a whole lot of hit points or health, and you get increased run speed. When you have all 3 pieces, you get this high-frequency electromagnetic pulse. So I, of course, want all 3 pieces. So that's what I'm working towards in the Reputation. The next thing I'm going to get is the weapon. And once I get the weapon, which is a phaser compression rifle, I will get a huge boost to my health or hit points and an increased run speed. So that's going to help us be a lot more tanky on ground, and I won't die so easily finally. And then this shield is not bad either. And then once I keep leveling up in the Reputation, I will unlock the armor piece, and then I can finally replace the Jem'Hadar armor with better Delta Reputation armor. So that's what I'm working on. I don't have it all yet, of course, but that's what I'm working on. Let me show you where I'm at currently in that. Currently I have Tier 3 of the Delta Alliance Reputation unlocked, and I am working on the Tier 4 part of it. But we still have to get all the way to Tier 5, I think, to unlock the armor. So that's going. Nothing more I can do but just keep waiting. And here is the compression phaser rifle. I've already spent everything. All I need are the marks. I am at 457 marks now, so I am very close to having 500 to purchase the compression phaser rifle. And that'll allow me to have that 2-piece bonus. So another Kobali run, and I should probably have that, either that or a patrol or something. Very soon I will have enough. Of course, then I'll be back to 0 Delta marks, and I'll have to keep grinding again for more. But that's what I'm going to do. And so what I've been doing to grind for those Delta marks is, of course, do Kobali runs. I do the last 2 missions of the Kobali homeworld, which gives you a lot of marks, and 2 ancient power cells. And then, of course, you can do some patrols like Argala and other stuff to earn some more marks. And I have even done some Nakul runs, some Nakul red alerts, to get some of those Delta marks. And it has really paid off and helped. And as you can see, I'm almost to 500. I'm almost able to get my 2nd Delta ground equipment, which is really good. Then I'll just have to work on the 3rd one. So that's a thing that's going in progress. That's going dandy. It's going real well. The kit powers now. I told you guys in the last video I changed the kit frame. Well, I again changed up some of the powers. I now have, I guess, this Assault Kit Module Sweeping Strikes Mark 13 very rare. I have Mark 13 uncommon lunge. I have Mark 13, not uncommon, I mean common, lunge and plasma grenade and photon grenade and rally cry. So I've upgraded my kit modules to all Mark 13. So they're all Mark 13. I think that's like the highest level you can get. This one's very rare and the rest are common. Eventually I will get very rare, but right now one of them's very rare. But at least the level, the Mark level, is like as high as they can go, and the kit is also Mark 13. So my kit stuff is like all max level as far as like Mark level goes. That's going to help us a lot too right there. I've also, of course, been doing the summer event. I've got 400 of the Lolnut prize vouchers to get our Xiphias escort. Still working on that, of course. And so over the course of, doing what I've been doing off camera and trying to get these Delta marks, that has taken me to level 59. So that's where we are. As for my ship, haven't made any changes to the ship setup here in terms of this gear. The reason why is I just was focusing on ground right now, but in the future, of course, I will be focusing a little bit more on the ship. But for right now, this is what I got. I mean, it's the same. I'll take you guys into space and show you my powers, but, I pretty much just showed you there. What else did I do? Not any really new traits to add, unfortunately, for myself, so everything's kind of the same there. I guess I'll go show you the visuals of my bridge officers, so you can see how they look. I, of course, have rearranged my hotbar down here so that everything makes sense. Let's go to bridge officers. So here's Eliza Flores. I've given her a hair color change. She's a little bit more punky now. I think it looks pretty cool. I've also given her like the total holographic outfit here with the chest plate and everything. She's tactical, so that makes sense. Kind of looks like me. It's a different color blue, by the way. It's lighter blue than I'm using, so it's not the same blue, although it looks like it. But that makes her look a little different and very unique on the ground. And I've also color-coded everybody the same with the black top and then the red gloves and shoes, and then on their belts I've given them some red accent on their belts as well to get the point across that they are whatever career they are. Mamadazun I can't change, Navro I can't change, Yura is not ground, only space, but I changed her uniform and color scheme anyway to match the color scheme that I'm using for everybody else. Here is my new character, Carrie. She will be our engineering officer on the ground. I've given her only this top portion of the holographic ability, a little bit on the back here, and then I've given her this wrist thingy here, and then I've given her kind of a bionic arm. I'd like to think that like part of her arm is mechanical. She's an engineer after all, so maybe she's part mechanical in a way. So there's something unique anyway. So that looks pretty cool. I've given her a nice, interesting color hair with a ponytail. I think she looks great. And then Ovelia, she's not going to be anything. I don't know. She was an extra one that I downloaded, but I don't think I'm using her at all. But she's there, like if I need her. I forgot what species. I think she's human, but I'm not using her for anything. So those are my bridge officers, totally looking different. And let's see, I think that's like everything on the ground that I can think of. So let's go into space and we'll just take a quick look. So obviously I've rearranged my hotbar so everything fits. Here's alpha, beta, and omega. Alpha, beta, and omega. Here's all my stuff, of course.
Warning, ship is under attack.
So we should be doing a lot better now, especially with those traits. If we go here to, I guess you can't really see what those benefits are straight up, but my power transfer rate's 270%, stealth detection rating is 22.23, bonus defense is at 80%. My hull is 34,255, 103.1% a minute hull rate. My shield capacity is very low, but that's because of the shield I'm using, Solane shield. My resistances are pretty good, 35%. A 3.5 chance of crit chance, and then 53 crit severity. Those aren't very high, but we'll get those up later on. Yeah, I really need to work on like the ship gear and like overhaul it, but you know, that'll come later. So that's my ship stats. That's the ship powers. Power levels. I'm at 125 weapons, so I'm maxed. I'm at 77 shield, 50 engine, 55 auxiliary. So I have 2 leaderships, 2 efficients, a pirate. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. These upgrades should definitely help us in combat. And we're going to need it because the Vodwar War is picking up. So anyway, I just wanted to show you all guys that stuff was going on and what I've done here. Not really much else to say. I think we're going to be set up to do an awesome job on ground now, or any ground combat should really be no trouble. And space combat, I think I may still be a little weak in terms of, you know, the Vodwar can do a lot of damage to me. But I should be able to deal out a lot of damage with this ship as well. So that's what we'll find out. Well guys, those are the updates I made. I figured that this was worth a dedicated video since I made so many big sweeping changes. So the next video we'll get right back into the next Delta Quadrant mission. But there you go. I thought you might enjoy that update to Rami Summers. Thank you all for watching and stay tuned for the next one.